Hey guys, welcome to the second part of this podcast. How to stop masturbating and watching pornography. It's a request I've gotten from some people on this podcast, on my channel and on my Instagram. On the first part of this podcast, I spoke about the effects of porn and masturbation. I spoke about how sex is a spiritual secret ritual from God and that through sex, God can conjure spirits into the human body, and that's the process of people getting pregnant in the first place. I spoke about how God will conjure a soul into the womb of a woman, and I said abortion is a sin because you're killing a soul, you're marginalizing a human life because he or she is weak and undeveloped. And I said that sex, whatever form, whether you're masturbating, you're doing your real stuff, or you're watching porn, it opened portals in the spirit realm. And because it opened those portals, a lot of bad things can happen. That's why God is so angry with sexual sin. Because you might open a portal and stuff like sleep paralysis demon can come through. You can get a spiritual wife or a husband. Sometimes you get some crazy demons and they bring these hazy voices in your head, telling you to do this, telling you to do that, telling you to jerk off all the time. These anonymous voices, they pull through because you've opened a portal and they came through that portal and right now they're living in your body. I might look like I'm reaching, but you can always pause this podcast, take your time and do some concrete research. I've seen a lot of people get delivered from the demons of masturbation, porn, spirit wife, spirit husband, and other stuff. Everything is online, but if you don't believe what you see online, it's simple. Book a flight, just do something. Do something like you can go to churches. In fact, go where the action is and see what's happening. You can go to many churches, you can go to many different places. You'll realize that what I'm saying is actually real. You hardly get people talking about this stuff, but it's something that is very, very dangerous. I'm saying this stuff because I've seen a lot of stuff that I myself, I can't even explain. I won't speak about it. On the last part, I spoke about the physical effects of watching porn and masturbating. Like it brings sexual weakness, loss of emotions, like you would think your partner is a sex machine, cancer, low self-esteem, and other stuff. But on this part 2, I'll talk about how to stop porn and masturbating. These bad habits can be changed in 2 ways, but the most effective way is spiritually, because I've used this before and it worked pretty well for me. So if you're a Christian, you're totally blessed because you have the most, let's say, you have the most loving God ever. Like seriously, if you pray to God and you beg God, you beg Jesus Christ, you take some deep fasting or whatever, you can even just pray for it and just quote 1 John 2, 1-5. In fact, when you pray, you meditate on those scriptures, you do a heartfelt prayer. Believe me, guys, God will come to your rescue. In fact, Jesus Christ always does. I've seen how he has helped a lot of people from chronic addictions. So he will always help you if you believe and have hope and have faith in your heart. Okay, but there's one more thing. You need self-discipline, because even if God will help you, you might find yourself backsliding. In fact, I always did that. So that's why I'm like, you need self-discipline. Self-discipline is the root of all good qualities. So when God help you, you need self-discipline to keep you from going back to that bad habit, from backsliding. Because the moment you backslide completely, what's going to happen is that the demons that will come to you will be more worse than the one who came last time. With that said, here's another way to stop your bad habits, like porn and masturbating. The first thing you need to do is to change your mindset. You need to start thinking differently and make a commitment to change your identity. To be real, most people are comfortable in these things and you risk being like them. What I'm saying is that this is an addiction and it's quite difficult to stop, because it's difficult to stop an addiction in the first place. So just like smoking, no matter how you show the left lobe of your brain on the dangers of smoking, no matter how you educate the right lobe of your brain you will find yourself still watching porn and still, doing other stuff, is smoking, whatever addiction you're doing. It's even dangerous because the person will go into a deep depression and might even do more of that stuff. That's a similar effect here. Just like smoking, it's the same stuff with porn and masturbation. So you need to create a new identity by changing your mind and taking full ownership of your body. So you don't set a goal on, I'm going to stop smoking in 10 months, or I'm going to stop smoking in 1 month, or I'm going to stop jerking off in 1 month, or I'm going to stop jerking off in the next 30 days, 15 days, masturbating in the next 20 days. You don't set a goal. What you do is that you create a new identity. You say to yourself, I'm not a porn addict, or I don't masturbate. Simple. In fact, you act like that kind of person who don't masturbate and don't watch porn. And all these things have some effects, okay? You have to change your environment completely. Maybe you have to get some new friends. What you have to do is that ask yourself, what will I do if I was someone who doesn't masturbate or watch pornography? You will realize that there are a couple of things you need to get rid of. You need to get rid of all those porn CDs, get rid of all those websites, all those sex toys, and a lot of stuff. Maybe that stuff in your room or wherever that whenever you keep seeing this stuff, it keep maybe like pictures of these sexy models on your wall. There are a lot of stuff that you have to get rid of. When you make a solid decision, your mind changes. The target here is not your front lobe or your left lobe. It's not your conscious mind. The target here is your subconscious mind. The real reason why you can't stop masturbating or watching pornography is because it has gotten to your soul. You have watched a lot of times and it has gotten to your soul. It has gotten to your subconscious mind. And when it gets to your subconscious mind, it's very difficult to stop it because it's a primitive brain. It doesn't listen to anybody. It does what it has to do. And most of your activities, like 90% of your activities, are controlled by the subconscious mind. So after doing this, like after getting rid of all those stuff, like burning those CDs, by destroying those toys, which you use for these purposes, you also have to like delete selling music, this perverse music, you know what I'm talking about. Movies, games, and all this perverse content. After you've done that, then you're on the road for changing this habit. Like I said in my last podcast, I said your soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions. And whatever goes into your soul, it's difficult to change. So let me just show you how this stuff attacks your soul. Porn has a strong effect on your mind. It causes mind control. When you're watching porn, in fact, everybody knows what I'm talking about. You go into a trance. You can sit for hours without even knowing. Like time will just run through. You won't even know what's happening. And you can scroll endless amount of content, pictures, whatever, for hours without even knowing. Because porn has a strong effect in your mind. It causes mind control. Also, porn has an effect on your will. It has control over your will. So even if you don't want to watch porn, even if you don't want to masturbate, you will find yourself keep doing it because you're powerless. It has taken over your will. It's controlling you. Like, in fact, you can be like, I can't stop doing this. It has taken control over your will. So your body has lost control. Now, here's the worst part. Your emotions. Each time you watch porn or you masturbate, it releases a huge amount of dopamine in your brain. So you feel something good each time you keep doing that action. And that's how the brain works, the primitive brain. Action equals reward. So if you're jacking off or you're watching porn or you're watching stuff, you will get a reward for what you're doing. In fact, the body will reward itself. It will release dopamine. So it doesn't care if it affects you later or not. It only cares about action, reward. If you can master this principle, then you're able to stop any addiction. In fact, think about animals. Think about how they train dogs, dolphins in an aquarium, whales, elephants in a circus park, even rats in the lab. That's how they do. Action equals to reward. So they will make the animal to do this action, and when the animal does that action, they will reward the animal with food. That's how the primitive brain works. So your subconscious mind don't even know about what you're doing. The only thing it thinks about is action, reward. So here's the bitter truth. Your subconscious mind doesn't know if you're jerking off or not. By the way, it doesn't even care. Your subconscious mind only cares about action, reward. Knows that if it does this action, it will get this reward. That is why your body will keep doing it. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, it will keep doing it because it has a reward it gains at the end of the day. The reason why most people can't even stop their addiction in the first place is because they haven't given themselves an adequate reward. So they will stop doing that action and they will keep getting pressure. They will keep getting like pressure from their body. The body hasn't gotten that adequate reward. Truth is simple. Your mind knows what's up. So you can deceive your mind. Here is what you need to do. One way to completely stop an addiction is to replace the addiction with another activity that will produce an adequate amount of reward. An adequate amount of dopamine, because the body knows about dopamine. Whatever you do, everything you do, your brain will produce an amount of dopamine as a reward for that activity. So here's the plan. Ask yourself, which activity can I do that will make me very happy? That should be your battle cry in order to stop an addiction. You don't stop an addiction, you replace that stuff with another activity. But that activity should be able to produce an adequate amount of reward. So look for an activity that will make you very happy. It might be your hobby or whatever. There are a lot of stuff, man. It might be singing, playing football, basketball, working out at the gym, hiking, biking. Just look for some activity that will produce an adequate amount of dopamine, an adequate amount of reward, because that is what your body needs. So look for a hobby or whatever, something that will make you very emotional. Now that you've done that, you need to test yourself. Some of you already know. Some people watch porn every day, some jerk off twice a day, some 3 times. Everybody has his own system, so it depends on your system. But it's always good to know thyself. So I want you to track yourself. I want you to audit yourself. So take a pen and a paper and write these things. Ask yourself these questions. What are your weaknesses? How many times do you jerk off a day? How many times do you watch porn? Which time are you doing those stuff? In fact, is it that you're free? Is it that you're lazy? Is it that you must do that every single day? Because all these things are directly proportional to time. You can't jerk off for 24 hours. You can't watch porn for 24 hours. In fact, these things are directly proportional to time. There's a time period which you do all these things. So that is your target. Now, once you've completely analyzed yourself to know how deep and addicted you're into that stuff, it's time for you to start taking real actions to create a new identity. So let's say, let me just give myself an example. Let's say I'm done with this analysis. Name, value for viral, bad habits. Let's say I'm porn, I'm watching porn, or I'm masturbating. The time from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. every day after work. I watch porn, then when I'm watching porn, I check off, and that's it. The number of times, let's say twice a day and 7 days a week, like every single day. So what's the activity which I'm doing at that time, and what causes the activity? Let's say I'm idle. From 3 to 4 p.m. I'm idle. I have nothing to do. So that's why my mind knows that at that time, that's the right time for me to check off and, be myself. So with that said, I'll start working on this habit. Okay, I know that from 3 to 4 p.m. every single day, I'm gonna be I I know that from 3 to 4 p.m. every single day, I'm gonna be idle. So my focus should be on that time. I need to replace that idleness with an exciting activity that will generate the same reward. It should generate an adequate amount of dopamine. So I will take my football jersey, my kit, and go to work, and I'll place them in my car. So when I'm back from work at 3, I'll drive directly to the football field, meet my friends, play some good football game, and make sure I live my life to the fullest. You want to be excited as much as possible because it will drive more adrenaline and dopamine into your body. So when you're done and you're back home, that time period has passed. You have gone through one day without watching porn or masturbating. So what's going to happen? Your mind you won't be under so much pressure to do that bad habit. So when you're back home, do yourself a favor. Make a calendar and hold yourself accountable for every single thing you do. On that calendar, you tick the days which you go through without performing that bad habit. And every single day when you go through the day without performing that bad habit, make sure you reward yourself. That's the trick. Remember, action equals reward. So you're trying to shoot one bird with 2 stones. You can reward yourself with anything like food, dinner in a nice restaurant, or some random exciting stuff. Once you reward yourself for having a nice day without passing through that bad habit, without doing that bad habit, your body will release more dopamine and your body will start feeling comfortable with this new identity. That's how they teach dolphins to dance on water. So for some people, what they do is that they get little rewards. If you're able to go through a week, then you can reward yourself with something big. But remember, you have to keep rewarding yourself every single day. Every single time you go through that day without performing that bad habit, make sure you reward yourself because it's very important. It's very important. And also, keep pushing. Never give up. Hold yourself accountable every single day. And the most important stuff is that be self-disciplined. So keep yourself from people and content that promotes sex. If you keep doing that like every single day, after a while, you start developing high self-esteem. And that's how you create a new identity. Within some few months, you have completely killed that habit. And you have mastered the art of self-control. You have mastered the art of discipline. You have mastered the art of stopping to watch porn and masturbating. So, guys, the process is very, very simple, but it requires a lot because it's something that you have to do every single day. And within a short period of time, you're a completely new person. One bonus tip to develop yourself is, get yourself accountable. If you can't get yourself accountable, get someone that will hold you accountable every single day. And also, you have to make some positive affirmations. Affirmations of self-control, love, positive mental attitude, and self-esteem. Say to yourself every single day that I have control over my body, my soul, my spirit. I love myself. I want to do what I want to do. I'm disciplined in every single thing I do. That's just 4 affirmations. You can also add some other affirmations. Record them on a little tape and play the tape every night when you're sleeping. I think the shorter the affirmations, the better, because it will get directly into your subconscious mind and it will help your subconscious mind to focus. But please, when you're making those affirmations, Don't say any stuff related to masturbating or porn, or like, I'm going to stop watching porn, I'm going to stop masturbating. Don't say those stuff. In fact, don't use negative words in your affirmations, because it will make your subconscious mind to remind you about porn throughout that day, and you might fall back into it. So be very careful with affirmations. Affirmations are supposed to be positive. So make affirmations of self-control, love, PMA, and self-esteem. That's it. Don't make anything else. If you think it's a spiritual problem and you keep fighting with those anonymous voices in your head, you need to visit a pastor for counseling and prayers. That are like some dark spirit that control this stuff like porn and masturbation. Some years back, I was watching TV, a church program on TV. It was a deliverance sermon, and I saw my friend on TV. I was like, man, this guy's on TV. So he was in the deliverance section, and I was just watching, but by the power of God, he started confessing. He started saying stuff that I could never believe, but what he was saying was true. Then he started confessing about being possessed by the spirit of masturbation, scamming, and a lot of bad stuff, which I don't want to go deep into, but the main focus here is masturbation, right? And porn. He was being delivered from the spirit of masturbation. Everything seems like he was being possessed by a lot of demons, and he was pretty tapped out because he was masturbating and he was doing all this stuff. So he was like, I can't take it anymore. So his mom took him to the pastor for prayers, and I'm glad, because after that, he's changed right now. I don't think he does that anymore, which is something that we should really aspire for. But guys, like, this sexual sin is something that we should take very seriously, because I can remember when I was a Christian, I was still doing this sexual sin. I was still doing this stuff. But when I started becoming spiritual and I started listening to the voice of God, I really heard when God was warning me. He warned me very well. He said, you have to stop these sexual sins. And that was when I could really, really understand the implication of sexual sins. Because your body is a temple of God. Your body is a temple of God. In fact, ever since Jesus Christ died on the cross, he destroyed the temple. Like, when Jesus Christ died on the cross, that part of the temple got destroyed, and from there, God doesn't longer live in the temple. He lives in our body. So our body is a temple of God. So we have to be very careful with the way we live our life, because if you're committing sexual sins, it will drive the Holy Spirit from you, and when the Holy Spirit leaves you, the demons that will come to your body, man, like, I don't even want to talk about it. So God was warning me so much about these sexual sins, and I was like trying to deal, because I had a lot of girlfriends, and I didn't want to leave them. Like, I didn't want to leave them, but when the time came, I had to make a choice between God and these things. And when I saw a good opportunity, to leave these things, I made a firm and solid decision. I moved with speed and efficiency. Ever since I stopped doing that and stopped hanging out with those girlfriends, I realized a drastic change in my spiritual life. Guys, it's very important for us as Christians to stop these sexual sins. So guys, I've trashed out masturbation and porn. If you like this podcast, make sure you hit that like button. Any questions, hit me up on scamonteaser@gmail.com or valueforviral2 on Instagram. Thanks.